The Ethiopian race has a great mind power deficiency caused by the lack of nine knowledge and the absence of our own universal cycle by nature. Therefore, since our cycle is back again, these booklets containing nine knowledge will help increase our mind power, the power from whence all other powers come, and develop into practical tools, programs, and other usages. Ethiopians, don't just read the booklets known as the Nine Ball, but study them well and pass the information on to your offspring for our survival, future, and well-being. Our children are our future, and our Ethiopian females give birth to that future. So it is extremely important that our princesses, our females, give special attention to this racial information, for it means the liberation and preservation of our Ethiopian race. Nine-mind matter is the highest form of matter in the universes, and it can accomplish this by all necessary means.
And it's called SCNT, which takes the egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus.
The ancients further maintained that eternal life for a person or a race is continuous procreation, perpetual reproduction of that person's family or kind. For example, no Ethiopian woolly-haired person is ever dead in the ethnical sense, as long as two breeding Ethiopians, male and female, are still alive and together, because all Ethiopians are of the same origin or ancestral tree. Hence, as long as two breeding Ethiopians live, all Ethiopians, living and dead, live through them, for all Ethiopians are of the same flesh and blood. This man is expressing to these mentally dead, ignorant women that they need us to survive.
And it's called SCNT, which takes the egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus.
Listen to reason. The preceding information about the Takandoid race is why it is well known in Africa and the ancient world in general that the only true king was an African king of Takandoid descent. And this is also why when the Phoenician kings were ruling in ancient Egypt and their royal lineage of heirs ran out, they were sent to Nubia for a Nubian prince to come and start up their royal lineage of heirs again by sitting on the throne and producing a male future heir by one of their Phoenician females. So we were being used back then for the same reason, to keep them going. We represent life. We give life. We're the life of the party. We are. This is how you can tell we represent life. We were the first people on the planet, number one, and we were the first to give decor and decorum to the whole world. We bring life through sports, music, our history, math, science, dancing, child raising. We represent life. They cannot survive without us. This is a scientific fact. I'm not being braggadocious. These are facts. We can exist without them. We definitely gave the world culture.
They just go ahead and take it out.
Pink Floyd?
Huh?
The Pink Floyd.
Yeah, a little bit. And this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet.
The slave master also taught the woolly-haired slaves that God put a curse of black skin and kinky hair upon us. But Noon teaches us that it is purely false. Number one, because Ethiopians have black skin and woolly hair from original creation. Number two, black skin provides the best protection against exposure and disease. And three, woolly hair means that the sun genes, the genes of life, are much stronger in woolly-haired people than they are in straight-haired people. Hence, woolly hair is a sign of life and originality. However, Noon does agree that God did put a curse on darker peoples, but the curse is not woolly hair and black skin. Instead, the curse that God put on the Ethiopian and other darker peoples is the Caucasian and his way of death. The Ethiopian's way is way of life. You must understand that nature moves in opposites as well.
These curvy, sexy black women from Africa Negroes have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that.
Let's get into the word Negro real quick. Nine knowledge is Ethiopian knowledge by nature, composed and disclosed by Ethiopians, that is, woolly-haired people. One of the major enemies of the Ethiopian race is ignorance. The words Cain and Negro spell the word ignorance, because Cain, which is short for Caucasian, the white man, produced ignorance and created the mental dependent called Negro. The enemy of an intelligent mind is ignorance. Therefore, nine knowledge provides the mental strength necessary to fight off this natural foe and help prepare a protective defense against it. Universal and natural knowledge, to be known as nine knowledge, is the resurrector of the mental dead called Negroes.
These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. Negroes have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that.
What they want is to mentally, physically, sexually, and biologically use you. That's what he wants. He wants some of that. The Caucasian race is Dracula, who lives by the scapegoat doctrine. The satanic scapegoat doctrine maintains that the ghost must survive by killing the living to obtain their blood, because ghost has no blood life fluid of its own, and it loves most of all the blood of the woolly-haired people, but theirs is the richest by nature of all blood on the planet. So the dead, the ghost of Dracula, creates conditions called captivity and slavery so that it may have victims whom it can conveniently prey upon whenever it needs additional blood for life. The blood of the best-known victims of Dracula is sent to high places in Caucasian religion, and that blood is offered up to six-ether Jesus and the ghost, the spirits of the Osiris mummy, and the ghost subsists on the blood. Then ghost gets thicker and stronger in the atmosphere around the earth, for it is multiplied from the blood of those victims offered up in rituals and those whose blood is spilled outright. As ghost gets thicker and stronger in the atmosphere, its posterity gets stronger to perpetuate oppression and captivity and keep the captive prepared for future needs of the ghost and its posterity. They need these women. And these women are just sitting there sipping on their drinks. One of them looked really uncomfortable. But nobody got up yet. Nobody left the table. This is, oh my goodness.
So, girls, for $100, we will pay you for your egg.
No, you $100? Monkey. You can get paid a lot more than that.
So how much do you want for it? Let's bid. I bid $500 for the Olympic.
Most women in these United States are fully possessed by Caucasian men, physically, mentally, educationally, occupationally, spiritually, economically, and sexually. Most Negro males are also possessed by Caucasian in various ways, but the writer capitalized the word sexually in the case of our women because there is a special campaign underway by Leviathan to destroy our racial identity through the sex of our women, and at the same time destroy all moral fiber that they still have. Leviathan is using men of other races as well as Caucasians to accomplish that. The only one who will ever check that diabolical scheme of mankind and its forces is the male Ethiopian through proper teaching, protection for, and direct appeal to our women. Some of our women know that they are working against the best interests of woolly-haired people and do it deliberately because they are gold diggers, degenerates or opportunists who want to please the master and seducer who keep them in power. Others of our women are just ignorant to what is going on, and yet there are still others driven to do things that they would not do, but do them because of their poverty-stricken condition. One of the best ways to check our women is to give them right knowledge and see that they and our children get proper protection and provisions by way of us woolly-haired males. For those who don't know, Leviathan is a giant sex force who's able to control peoples, places, and things. That's the special campaign. That's where the special campaign is coming from. Leviathan, who's the ruler of all the spirit beings in the bottom half of the existence circle. I'd like to add this. Wearing wigs, straightening woolly hair by whatever means are not Ethiopian culture, and as long as Ethiopians do this, other races know the person who does it is a mental slave who wants to be someone of another race, and thereby can be misused against self and own kind, mentally, physically, and sexually. It's a lot of fun and folly going on here. There's no black male presence. The word Negro was used. We already know what that means. And the weave indicates I don't like myself. The spirits that these men have are aware that these women sitting in front of them are unintelligent. I noticed when the money was brought up, how these females, they came to life. They started voicing their opinions. Shaking my head.
Whatever I bid, he's gonna outbid me. I bought about $60,000 worth of eggs. Yeah. If you have abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord, and placenta, even your period blood is so rich with stem cells. When you regard it as waste, then it actually should be. It should be captured as recycled, and it shouldn't go to waste. It's life for somebody, and it's life for mankind.
Mankind is all people with straight hair, and is our natural opposite. We are considered Ta kind, and we represent life. Mankind represents death.
And it's called SCNT, which takes the egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus. They just go in and take it out.
Painful, right?
Huh?
Is it painful?
Yeah, a little bit. And this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet. These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. You girls have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that. So, girls, for $100, we will pay you for your egg.
No, you $70? Monkey. You can get paid a lot more than that.
So how much do you want for it? Let's bid. I bid $500 for whatever I bid, he's going to outbid me. I bought about $60,000 worth of eggs. Yeah. If you have abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord, and placenta, even your period blood is so rich with stem cells. When you regard it as waste, then it actually should be. It should be captured as recycled, and it shouldn't go to waste. It's life for somebody, and it's life for mankind.
The newborn male is very fortunate to have the richest female in body on the planet, and that is the woolly-haired female. And y'all must learn to protect us in every way and provide for us. My name is Tar Ununet, and my name translates to the first black one to be raised in 9 ether waters of noon. True peace.